There are few things in life more surreal than sitting on your porch, sipping coffee at sunrise, when suddenly a mud-covered ATV comes barreling across your private pasture, nearly mowing down your prized goat. That was the moment I dropped my mug, blinked twice, and saw Karen, blonde bob flapping in the wind, designer sunglasses perched high, and that look of pure entitlement, as she kicked up a storm of dust and cow manure across my ranch. She didn't flinch, didn't wave, just tore through like the trail was hers. And get this, she was blasting country music so loud it sent my chickens into full-on rebellion. Yeah, that happened up by the third lap. My livestock had fled to the barn, my dog was hiding under the truck, and I finally realized this wasn't just some random act of stupidity. No, this was a declaration of war. You see, I'd bought this ranch to escape noise, people, and HOA nonsense. My property backed up to a fancy suburban development where most neighbors were harmless enough until Karen moved in. She wasn't just a neighbor. She crowned herself HOA president, lawmaker, and judge all in one. She treated the whole subdivision like her personal kingdom when she discovered the dirt trail behind her backyard. My trail, mind you, she acted like it was an undiscovered extension of her empire. Without so much as a knock, she started tearing through it on her ATV. At first, I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe she didn't know. So, I walked over, knocked politely, introduced myself, and told her the trail was private and no motor vehicles were allowed. She barely cracked the door, smirked, and said, "That trail's more useful to me than to you. My ATV needs space, and your cows can share." Then she slammed the door right in my face. I stood there, jaw on the floor, trying to process what I'd just heard. That weekend, she brought friends. 2 more ATVs tore through the trail like it was some kind of racetrack, spooking livestock, knocking over feeders, trampling irrigation, and clipping a gate post. I put up a private property, no ATV access sign, warning violators would be prosecuted. Next morning, flattened. Right next to it, someone had dumped an empty latte cup and half a sandwich. Karen had turned my trail into her personal picnic circuit. At that point, I documented everything. Trail cams, formal cease and desist letters, even notified the HOA. The response? A letter from the HOA, signed by Karen herself, claiming the trail dispute was resolved and that I was expected to remove dangerous animals from what they now called a shared recreational corridor. Dangerous animals? My pigs barely get off their backs unless they smell peaches, and my cows nap through thunderstorms. But Karen didn't care. Trail was hers. Period. I installed a wooden gate, reinforced it with steel mesh. It lasted 48 hours. One morning, I found the lock smashed, hinges bent, tire tracks cutting through fresh hay I'd laid out. Next to the wreckage, a sparkling pink hair clip, Karen's calling card. That was the moment something inside me snapped. I tried being polite, tried being reasonable. But sometimes, as anyone who's raised hogs knows, the only language that gets through is mud, stink, and chaos. And I had plenty of all three. So I worked late into the night, rerouted the trail, angling it through the pig enclosure, the muddiest, stinkiest, most fertilized part of my land. My nephews called it the stank zone. The pigs loved it. Tourists didn't. I fortified the path with reflectors and camouflaged the stinky trail to look smoother, faster. If Karen wanted speed, I'd give her speed, with a scent she'd never forget. I made sure the pigs were well fed and in a social mood, planted melon slices near the trail curve, watered down the path with extra buckets of slop, and reinforced the fencing so she had no choice but to follow the new route point. 2 days later, I heard engines roaring. This time, Karen brought along Rick, an HOA board member who thought loafers made him ranch chic. They barreled down the trail yelling about property freedom. I stood by the barn, binoculars in hand, coffee steaming, watching as they hit the new curve, and then the first puddle of sludge. The screeches that followed? Unforgettable. Their ATVs sank half a foot into pig muck. Pigs, curious about the watermelon rind I'd left, rushed over. Karen's shrieks echoed across the valley. Rick tried to reverse, but one pig thought his tire was a chew toy and started headbutting it. Karen dropped her phone into the slop, trying to record the chaos. They were stuck, completely stuck. I kept sipping my coffee, smiling. No rancher's morning could be better. But the war wasn't over. Karen disappeared for 2 days. I thought maybe she'd gotten the message. Nope. Thursday afternoon, engines rumbled again. 4 ATVs this time, Karen leading, helmet off, hair flapping dramatically, followed by 3 HOA board members, one strapped with a GoPro, like this was some Red Bull event. No apologies, no negotiations, just doubling down. Karen even put pink HOA flags on the ATVs like they were a cavalry charge. They ditched the main trail and took the Pigsty route, now the official scenic path, according to her HOA Facebook post, complete with a bragging caption and mud-caked selfies. That evening, I found a new HOA letter in my mailbox. This one accused me of negligent containment of aggressive livestock and unauthorized barriers. It ended with a fine, signed by Karen. I stared, then laughed out loud. She fined me for her own trespassing. This wasn't a nuisance anymore. It was a full-blown delusional empire that I called Deputy Vince, who used to help during rodeo season. He laughed when he read the letter, but admitted it was tricky. HOA had no jurisdiction, but they were smart, accusing me of uncooperative neighborhood behavior. Vince gave me 2 options: lawyer up and fight slow, or give them enough rope to hang themselves. I took the rope. I redesigned the trail again, laid fresh hay to bait her away from the pig path, added a shallow trench filled with fertilizer mix, covered it with camouflage netting, set up a wooden checkpoint with a trail camera, and painted a rustic sign. Karen's Express Lane, VIP only. I knew she wouldn't resist. The pigs got used to the noise. One clever piglet, Duke, even got a bell collar that jingled with every step. That bell played a starring role soon enough. Karen launched her Saturday HOA trail parade with 7 riders, 2 kids, a guy with a cooler strapped to his back, all in matching HOA Trailblazers shirts. The GoPro guy was back with a drone. They filmed, cheered, shouted yeehaw. Karen waved to my trail cams like she was running for office. Then they hit the trench. Karen bounced over it, but the next rider nose-dived into the muck, a teenager who flipped over handlebars, landing in fertilizer soup. The smell was unbearable. People gagged. The pigs, led by Duke jingling his bell, trotted over like an army. The parade scattered in chaos. One woman rolled her ATV into slop. Another screamed about health codes. The drone crashed in a feed bucket, splashing sour mash on its operator's pants. The GoPro caught every second. I walked over, tipped my hat, wiping my hands with a rag. Karen, dripping with mud, screamed, "You planned this. This is sabotage." I pointed to the sign beside her. Warning, active livestock area. Enter at your own risk. I gestured to the drone footage, the warning signs, the fence line, everything recorded. She ranted about lawyers, slipped, and fell knee-deep into Duke's favorite wallow. Her HOA post the next day? No photos, no bravado. Just a vague complaint about environmental hazards. The comments section turned against her fast. Neighbors questioned HOA's involvement, funding for flags and shirts, and why a pig named Duke was more popular than the HOA president that I knew than I had her. Karen wasn't just embarrassing herself. She was dragging her entire HOA crew into the mud. And the cracks in her empire had begun. The saga turned to paperwork, public opinion, and allies tired of her reign. Local vet Gerald showed up one day, laughing about the chaos he'd filmed during the Pigsty fiasco. He said, "Now's the time to go on the offensive." The community split. Some loyalists, most entertained or horrified that I sent a lawyered cease and desist with photos, footage, GPS maps, surveys, and a notarized affidavit from the previous owner proving the trail was private, not even adjacent to HOA land. I sent copies to Karen and the HOA list, no commentary, just facts. 3 days later, HOA members began resigning. The GoPro guy cited other commitments. Others faded away quietly. Karen tried to claim it was just a routine rotation, but even her diehards grew silent. Then, a surprise delivery. A framed photo of Duke with a thank you note from residents calling themselves the Anti-Karen Coalition and a feed store gift card. I laughed so hard I had to sit down. Duke just rolled in the mud, unfazed that Karen's last stand was a town hall meeting, inviting residents, reporters, and officials to paint herself as a persecuted visionary. I didn't attend, but neighbors did. Tony, a retired firefighter, called it a bad reality show meltdown. The projector flashed a still of Karen stuck in the trench. Laughter erupted when someone played the Pig remix ringtone. Red-faced, she ended early, declaring, "This community deserves better than disrespect and sabotage." For once, we all agreed. The next day, a petition to remove Karen as HOA president gathered over 100 signatures in 24 hours. Stories poured in: petty fines, bullying, absurd rules. The floodgates had opened. The queen of the subdivision was scrambling, her image shattered. Stickers, t-shirts, even a truck with Duke's face and Trail Boss spray-painted beneath. Her authority crumbled because she couldn't let go of pride. Her front yard became a silent protest zone. And